All right, well, wait for some more people to join. I don't know what happened to the live stream there. It cut out. Um, Back. Okay. Yeah, sorry about that. I got a new iPad. I'm still figuring it out. The dang modem's like 5 feet away. I don't know how it. Um, I don't know how it stopped. Maybe it's the government is blocking me. Anyway, so like I said, my usual setup is I have some kind of a rifle or shotgun, some kind of a long gun with more power, extra magazines, extra rounds, and that's in the house. That's in case we get a siege of Honabi type thing where we get a violent attack against the house, things are trying to break in, things are getting out of control. I've got a rifle nearby and access to. But now that, but now that, but when I'm out in the woods, I found with the camera gear and trying to navigate through the bush and trying to get everything going. Um, Don't shop at Safeway, folks. They treat employees like crap. Yeah, Vaughn, Safeway, they're always overpriced anyway. I don't shop there. Um, so, like I said, I usually just end up carrying a pistol with me. And the best defense you can have is just think. Use your common sense. Use your intuition. If you start getting creeped out, or I've been in spots where the forest was dead silent, creepily, eerily silent, pin drop silent. And you could hear a knock off in the distance, a couple hundred yards off in the distance, and you're like, okay, it's a tree knock. Then on the other side of a gully, you hear another knock. And you hear one behind you. And then you hear another knock, and then you hear a whoop, and then you're like, yes, you should thumbs up again. Trump's fault for the live stream died. I don't know. Stock market's doing quite well. Does Bigfoot like beer or whiskey? I think he's a beer guy. Can you imagine like Bigfoot doing a cake stand? He could drain the thing. Anyway, so yeah. So like I said, there's so much going on. I usually end up just carrying a handgun and leave a rifle at home. Uh, but just if you feel like you're getting in a weird situation, it feels like it's getting out of control. You feel like you're getting surrounded. Just back out and quickly walk out. Look over your shoulder. You look behind you, having the other person look behind you, get radio contact, get out of there. If it's getting dark, turn flashlights on. Just get out of there, make yourself a spectacle, stand up straight with your chest out, look around, have your flashlight on, and just get out of there. If you feel weird, just get out of there. And if it's at night, have 2 or 3 people um, with you, explain to them what's going on. Because, I've been out in the woods with people who are believers and non believers, and it's the non believers start hearing knocks and they get the hair on the back of their neck. And I'm not even creeped out yet, but they're ready to leave. It's happened to me several occasions. So, the other good thing to carry with you, pair of binoculars. You hear something? Hey Matt, did you find that huge pile of deer bones, dude? No, that was a picture I found online. I have found deer bones in the woods before, and it's always kind of creepy when you step on something. Hey, it looks like a bone. It looks like another bone. Oh, this is a weird spot. Okay, I don't think I want to stay here, even if it is a bear or anything else. I'd hate to shoot a bear or a mountain lion or a pack of coyotes, much less a Sasquatch. This is just, dire straits. But carry some binoculars. You can keep a view out of what's going with you. If you guys are in a crew and you guys are splitting up, have radio communication. Keep the GPS turned on your phone. Just common sense stuff. So the other thing, if you're anti-gun, you don't like guns, I get it. It's America. You have the right to bear arms. You don't have to bear arms. So the thing you can do, carry a big knife with you. If you're stuck out there overnight or a couple days, or you gotta, make a splint or something, a good knife. And there's been a couple times I've been out in the woods where I thought I was all alone, and I came across like some scuzzy-looking transient homeless guys and I've come across drug paraphernalia. I've come across like bloody bandages and weird stuff out in the woods before. So just even having some kind of a pepper spray and a good stiff pocket knife, and keep your wits about you. You're better off than not having them at all. Do you believe the Albert Osman Bigfoot story? I do, actually, because he said a lot of stuff in there that researchers today are just kind of figuring out. So it's really cool. Sorry about the live stream dying earlier. I don't know what was up with that. So yeah, if you want to upgrade and you pull out your knife and then you go, that's not a knife. That's a knife right there. It's a big Kershaw D2 tool steel chopper. It's got some dings and crap missing out of it, but good survival knife. Good, you can baton with it, do all that kind of stuff. Yes, I got all the toys. One of these days I'm going to do a video just about my gun safe and all my swords and knives and toys and all that kind of stuff that I have. But so anyway, let's move along just to some other weapons. Like I said, my Ruger Scout rifle. You can put like this, like X300 that's on here, this light. You can mount that right on that little rail right there. Having a bright flashlight with you is very, very important, because if you're going to encounter one of these things, or they're going to follow you back to your camp, back to your house, back to where you're staying, it's probably going to be at night. You never know. You never know how long you're going to be out there, or someone gets hurt, or you get lost. So even if you're going at 10 a.m., bring a flashlight with you. Maybe there's a cave or some, yes, bright light. They got lots of night vision. Well, that's the other thing too. You got a super bright, like 1,000 lumen light. Like, where's the one that I got on the AR? It's 1,000 lumen guy here. If they're coming at you at 15, 20 yards and you hit them with that light and their eyes are all dialed in and dilated and their cones or whatever are going off, that's really gonna shock them. Really gonna shock them. And especially if you're shining it randomly and turning it off and lighting up something for a second and randomly lighting up spots, they're gonna think for a second, whoa, he's lighting up the whole woods intermittently. We don't know where he's pointing it or where it's going on. It'll make them back up. And so it's just kind of some ideas, pocket knife, flashlight, pistol if you can afford it. Pepper spray, you get the little pocket keychain pepper sprays like my wife's got. And, bear spray, it's got, 25, 30-foot range, comes out in a god-awful stream. It is nasty stuff. I've been pepper sprayed on accident. I worked in security and I helped wrestling a crazy guy, and the cop pepper sprayed him and got me at the same time. And that was kind of civilian pepper spray. The bear spray is like beyond nasty. Be prepared to, cough and sputter and snot and boogers and everything to come out of you. But, if even a squatch gets a whiff of that, or a bear or a mountain lion or a pack of coyotes, they aren't going to like it, especially a Sasquatch. It's designed to be it's boogers. Yes, wood boogers. Wood boogers? Like tree snot? Anyway, so, pepper spray is a good one. Bear spray, like I said. So anyway, back to the Scout rifle. This is a good analogous. With the detachable magazines and the short barrel, it's kind of a little bit more general purpose rifle. Like it's shoot the Sasquatch in the crotch. Better hope you kill him. That's all I got to say. If you blow a Sasquatch wiener off, you better hope you kill him. And I don't know, maybe Mrs. Squatch will be happy that she's leaving her alone. Or maybe she'd be upset. I don't know. If you shoot a Sasquatch in the ding dong, be sure to shoot him in the head. If I got my stuff blown off, it had to be a really good shot, by the way. I would hope someone would put me down. I like your Scout rifle. Shoot with both eyes open. Exactly. That's why you get this low power scope, or a red dot, or the irons that are on here. But this is analogous to like what a lot of people have, like a hunting rifle. Grandpa's 30-06, or your uncle's 270, or your old 308, or whatever it is you got. Like I said, go find some good all copper rounds. They make them. Low power scope or red dot, because if he's coming at you, you don't want to have some 12 power, 15 power scope that, zooming in on a little patch of dirt, 100 yards away. You want something both eyes open, lightning fast. Learn to point shoot. It's where you turn the gun slightly sideways and you can look down the barrel. Iron sights are great if you got them. You get little mini red dots, Amazon for $150, throw them on there. Because we're thinking defensively. Scopes are for precision, for picking something off at a distance, like you're hunting. Defensively, scopes are not really that great an idea. This is a 2-power scope. So what you do is you run it with both eyes open. And, it literally, like the cabinet 5 feet away, I can still see clear through the scope. So you can transition with it. And you can run that pretty fast for bolt action. Practice with it. Know where your gun's zeroed in. How much recoil is it? A 308, a 30-06, a 270. If, I shot my uncle's 300 Win Mag and we put 5 rounds through it and our shoulder was bruised. Great, but how proficient are you? Can you carry it all day? Is it a big, heavy gun? See, if you go out and buy the Barrett 50 cal, you're never going to carry it because it's too heavy. So you're going to be out there when you need it and not have it because the damn thing was too heavy. So I'd rather have you carry it. I like a Marlin 444. Those are goods too. The problem is with lever actions is under stress and trying to crank them off, especially the Marlins, because I had a Marlin 3030 and I had a Marlin guide gun. I got rid of them both. Great guns, easy to shoot, but in a hurry, you start yanking those levers, you can jam them up real quick, and you got to take them apart to unjam them. So good if you're proficient, just don't short stroke them when they get broken in. Plus, Marlin's quality has been all over the place the last bunch of years. Like my 3030 was beautiful. The gun I bought a couple years later, the guide gun, lever gun, 4570, complete pile. But Marlins, I heard there's a whole story that the company got bought out and they fired all the workers and hired new workers or something like that, and their quality went to crap. And brush gun, well, that's what we're talking about, Rick, brush gun. But if you got a nice deer rifle or something, you can put a red dot or a low power scope or just good old iron sights, something defensively. So one of my favorite guns that I think would be a really good choice if you're trying to do this on the cheap is, I've had this one a long time. I refinished it a number of years ago. Most people don't know that I'm actually half Russian or quarter Russian on my dad's side. So here's that's why I've also got the AK, But here's a Mosin Nagant. Some people have known it as the garbage rod. I actually lucked out. This is the carbine, the short barrel version of it. And mine turned out to have a really good trigger. I've seen 4-pound triggers on these rifles, and I've seen 20-pound triggers on these rifles. How much cosmoline and all that stuff you got to unpack, and then sanded down the stock, and the bluing's all real nice on it. These sights are dead on at 100 yards. Surplus ammo, it's about as strong as a 30-06. It's basically a Russian 30-06. Good, strong ammo. Lead-free ammo, though, is like $80 or $90 a box for a Mosin, where the normal target ammo is like $2 or $3. So if you're not in California, not a big deal. But if you have to get lead-free ammo, it's really expensive for this rifle, and I think I paid $200 for this rifle like 15 years ago. I don't even know how much they are now, probably $300 or $400 for a nice one, a couple $100 still for a cheap one. But Mosins are nice. Plus, everybody knows that if you absolutely had to, I have a little cleaning rod on them too, which is handy. Oh yeah, bring it on, Sasquatch. That's right. You fired your 5 shots and the Sasquatch is coming at you and he's here to rape your friend Brian. Oh, don't worry, Brian. We're going to bayonet charge his ass. He's not getting me without a fight. Anyway, there's a big steel plates on the back. These guns are well up to shoot, though, because they're big steel plates, that curve to the stock. Oh, it goes right into your shoulder. You shoot 20 rounds through this, you're kind of done for the day. But defensive rifle, they're not impossible to shoot. And you can get little stock butt plate rubber things to put on there. Plus, the length of poles are kind of small on these. I like a short length of pole myself. But some people like a little longer stock, and they have big rubber squishy pads, and I recommend that if you're really going to shoot it, because, man, do they kick. The other gun that a lot of people have that is probably the most versatile gun, like if you're going to own one long gun, if you're going to own one gun, not even a handgun, if you're going to own one gun, it's probably going to be a shotgun. Rifles are nice. But if you want to go bird hunting, snap caps, by the way. But if you want to go bird hunting, or if you want to go deer hunting, you can put slugs in here. Defend your home, you could put buckshot in there. Defense against bears, buckshot or slugs. You can put heavy birdshot, go goose hunting with them. If you got one with screw-in chokes. Very versatile. A shotgun is literally the most versatile gun you have. The only thing they can't really do is long range. You can shoot a slug, 100 yards, 150 yards accurately, then they're kind of running out of steam and coming out. But defensively, like one gun you can own. Everybody says the 1876 Winchester was the gun that won the West. Well, yeah, they were really expensive though. The gun that really won the West was shotguns, because No matter every poor farmer, every storekeeper, every merchant, everybody in the Old West, you had a shotgun to hunt, to feed, to live by. So a shotgun, really quite versatile. This is a side-by-side, single trigger, not bicol. Who the hell makes these things? Stoeger. We'll put the snap caps back in. I actually use this for cowboy shooting, the type of competition where you have 2 6-guns, a lever gun, and a shotgun. And if you remember anything about the early 1900s, the turn of the century, when all those guys were in Africa doing their safaris and they were shooting Cape buffaloes and lions and elephant guns, well, they're all side-by-side rifles. They look a lot like a shotgun. They have thinner barrels, and the 600 Nitro Express and the 500 Nitro Express and all these the 375 H&H, or ouch and ouch, however you want to call it. Those big, expensive, nice rifles. There's a reason for that. Yes, in the early 1900s, they had bolt-action rifles. But the time it took you to fire and load another round, if you got a charging lion or a charging Cape buffalo, there was no time. And around the turn of the century, semi-automatics really weren't what they were. And in the super heavy cartridges, the Magnum cartridges, there weren't a lot of semi-automatics. There still really aren't today. I think you're going to get a modern sporting Brown NBAR and 7mm Remington mag or 300 Win mag, and then I think there's that Petra rifle that's like a giant AR-15 that shoots 300 Win mag, and that's like $6,000 or something like that. You use 6mm rifles in Africa as well. Yeah, they used everything they could. They used 303 Britishes, their Enfields, their 58, 40, whatever, Henry Martini rifles. So, yeah, hey Brian, 600 Nitro Express. Yeah, so the advantage of a side-by-side, you only get 2 shots, but it's instantaneous. Like the whole concept of the side-by-side rifle was charging lion. I could have 5 or 6 shots in a bolt action. Charging lion, charging Cape buffalo, charging whatever. You could get one off, boom. And instantaneously, boom, you've got another shot. And you're probably not going to need more than 2 shots because the first shot you hit him, the second shot he's within a couple yards from you. The third shot he's either dead or you're dead. So that's why they really, love the side-by-side. Big game hunters still love the side-by-side rifles. This is a side-by-side shotgun. But the rounds I carry for shotguns, since we have the lead-free thing in California, there's these buckshot, the dead coyote, the heavy shot. They're all tungsten. It was like $25 for 5 rounds. These are ridiculously expensive, but you got it in California. Beer and guns, bad combination. Be careful. Yeah. Be careful. I've had half a beer. I think I'm okay. But yeah, these are 3-inch mags. 3-inch mags, 12-shot, lead-free buckshot. That'll put a hurting on anything. The other thing, if you want to turn your lowly side-by-side $400 shotgun into a reasonable Africa gun with very, very heavy loads and very deep penetrating, are these guys. These are a monolithic 12-gauge shotgun shell, and it even says right on the back, the design feature, the edges of them are sharp. Flat front with sharp edged with these plastic little sabots on them, so it slides down that barrel. And what that does is that's basically, I think, what are these things? They're like a 1 ounce, so it's 440 grain bullet, 1 ounce steel slug. These aren't lead, these are steel. And basically it carves a 50 caliber hole straight through whatever you're shooting at. This is about as close as you could do to turn your shotgun into an elephant gun right here. Most slugs you buy, you buy the Winchester slugs, they're soft lead, they mushroom, they deform. These are hardened steel with sharp edges on them. They smack really hard with that flat tip. They deposit a lot of energy. They cut a clean hole. A rounded nose bullet will go through things and the flesh kind of seals back in behind it. But when it cuts a hole, it cuts that clean hole straight through them, the wound won't seal back up and it'll bleed right out. It's one of the best rounds you can get if you want to turn your shotgun into an anti-anything. And these are pretty cheap too. These actually weren't too bad. So yes, that pretty much covers the shotgun, the AR-15. We talked about some knives, the AK, the good old AR-15. What's really cool is there's a 458 SOCOM. It takes regular AR-15 mags, a 30-round AR-15 mag. You get 10 of them in there, and it's basically a semi-automatic 4570. And you buy another upper, you can slap it on your AR-15 that you already own, put a light on there, a little red dot, or like a 1-4, and that would be a hell of a Sasquatch rifle. Hell of a Sasquatch rifle. So, taser. Tasers, you got to get pretty close. I suppose if you got them in the head or something, or in the neck with a taser, if you had a taser already and some pepper spray and you're going in the woods, take it. I mean, if you're being attacked, worth a shot. But I wouldn't depend on a taser. You don't know how we don't know how they're built or what's going on. So that kind of concludes. We talked about shotguns, rifles, handguns, communication devices. Cell phone reception is shoddy in a lot of different areas, but you can turn your GPS tracker on. Matt Squatch Present is live. Oh, and so yeah, carry a big knife with you. These are just some ideas. Like I said, the best defense you have is to keep a level head. Flamethrowers, yeah, Brian, we talked about that in the first part. If Sasquatch attacks me in a dark alley that's made of concrete and brick, a flamethrower is great. But generally, the National Forest kind of frowns on me, especially in California with all the wildfires, me using a flamethrower. And unless you're in the pouring rain, I don't really... oh, man, imagine burnt Sasquatch hair? They already stink, man. That would just be... Whew. That would be badass, though. I could actually see Brian doing that. Brian, he's got, getting older. He's kind of mean, got some mobility problems. So I could definitely see Duke doing that. Squatch is coming at him, big gnarly old Squatch, and Brian's just sitting there with his flamethrower, and he's just like there, like with his flamethrower, going, "Come on, bring it, Sasquatch!" And just whoosh, roast that guy. I just picture Brian. I just picture Duke with the little goggles, going, flamethrowing a Sasquatch, and I don't think I'm too far off from the truth of that, Duke. So. You're wrong about Duke. He would run away, almost guaranteed. So would I, actually. I would actually probably leave the flamethrower because I could run faster without it. And maybe the Sasquatch would be like, oh, great. Then I'd be like, we really got to go. Why? Now the Sasquatch has a flamethrower. How did the Sasquatch get a flamethrower? Don't ask, just run. Totally see the Sasquatch picking up that flamethrower and go, oh. Oh, yeah, that would be great. Hi, Claudia. By the way, I think I saw you pop on there. So we're pretty much done here with the defensive stuff. Oh, I forgot to talk about these little guys. You ever seen these? They are the Aguila mini shells. Here's not a 2 3/4. These are 3-inch. Shotgun shell. These are the little Aguila minis. You can literally get like twice as many in them. Mossbergs work great. I had a KSG. They work great. They work great in most guns, actually. And they're very light recoil. Some have buckshot and birdshot. They have little mini slugs. They're great for people shooting a shotgun for the first time. You can put a lot of them, too, especially like in a bug-out bag. And they still hit pretty hard. The ballistic gel testings, they still put quite a bit of lead on target. These little Aguila mini shells are pretty cool. If you got a little, 18-inch sawed-off barrel pump shotgun that normally holds 4 or 5 rounds, you can get, 10 or 12 of these in there, and you can just pepper a hillside with one of these. And you got somebody who's smaller in stature, maybe a younger person or a wife or girlfriend or something that's, or a dude who just doesn't want a lot of recoil and noise, or someone who's shooting a shotgun for the first time. These are great. And that side by side, it's like shooting a 22. It's like bonk, bonk. But they still put quite a bit out. It still rings the steel pretty dang hard. So that pretty much concludes it. Handheld 134 minigun. Yes, you can buy one. I prefer mine helicopter mounted though. So get some stuff out of the way. Let's do a little Q&A. And what time is it? 6:53. Okay, we'll give it another 10 or 15 minutes. Who would win? Oh, $20 donation. Thank you, Foxy. A Dogman or a Wendigo? Oh, a Wendigo. even if it's just a lone dogman, a full alpha, 10-foot tall, gray, snarly guy, the Wendigos are just too big. They're just too strong. It's just, they're just way too big. Now, as a pack of them, that might be a different story. Most dogmen travel in packs. I've heard a lot of lone Wendigo stories, but very rarely do you hear of lone dog. I guess you do hear of lone dogmen, people who see them and stuff like that who just see one. I take that back, but for the most part, I assume and figure and think dogman will be in a pack. Just never assume they're alone, especially with Bigfoot and dogman. So I would have to put my money on the Wendigo. I think, Duke, what do you think? You put your money on the Wendigo. You saw one. I mean, that's definitely a poop your pants moment right there. Matt, come and see me. Yeah, I got some time off coming up. I got like a whole week off coming up here. And I got to just do like a mini road trip. There's a bunch of stuff. Law rocket launcher, you can get one. 12 gauge is like 87 millimeter equivalent. Yeah, it's really big. 10 gauge. Don't even try to shoot, you won't win. Yeah, and we pretty much covered that in the early part. This is purely, they're bearing down. They're charging at me. They're breaking in the door. They're hauling off somebody. They're actively attacking me and my people. That's when you fight back. Otherwise, you're just going to try to leave or hope that they stop. Do Sasquatch talk about us like we talk about them? We are probably the goofiest people. Oh my God, I can't even imagine what they say about us. What if you're surrounded by Bigfoots and don't have a weapon? Poop your pants, they won't want to eat you. Just talk calmly, back out. Don't present yourself as a threat, but don't make yourself look like an easy target either. Stand up straight. Don't make eye contact. Just kind of slowly back out and get out of there. Still trips me up when I hear Wendigo. I go straight for the Native American version. Yeah, me too. Wendigo versus Mountain Giant. The Mountain Giant would kill the Wendigo. I think it would be a hell of a fight. I think the Mountain Giant would probably stay clear of the Wendigo and vice versa, because you'd probably have a pretty scarred up Mountain Giant and a dead Wendigo. Let's see here. And try not to drop a brick. Well, it might happen to. Behind a tree, they might not see you. Wendigo would take two. Wonder that a Kandahar Giant would fare in this match. The Kandahar Giant, if that story is true, I've had my doubts that story is true. Some day I can go day to day. Some days I think the Kandahar Giant story is absolutely real. It's one of those stories that if it is real, I would not be surprised. I'd be scared, but I'd live to see the fight. Patty versus relic type. Well, there's a lot of speculation that the relic hominid type and the patty type are kind of the same thing, just with more or less facial hair. Like if you shaved Patty, she'd look like a Neanderthal underneath. I break them down into two separate things because the relic hominid type seems to be pretty aggressive, and the patty type's not as much. I just have to. Patty types are huge, but the relic hominid types seem to be very aggressive, very aggressive. So just out of pure meanness, I think physical strength, just physical confrontation, though, the patty type might have them. What's the story with Copper and Bigfoot? Claudia Ackley, please check your messages, Woodburger. Hey, Matt, Cryptid could find in the Amazon region. Oh, they have their versions of Bigfoot down there. They have like the Tenatuba, the big giant snake thing. South America also has dinosaur sightings. There's a lot of strange stuff goes on down there in the jungle. Plus, they still have all those undiscovered tribes. Death by bunga bunga tribes. You don't want to mess around down there. Not to mention all the drug lords and all that kind of stuff. What was that one? Lady in the Woods. Hi, Matt. Lurking in the chat. Great chat. Thanks. Oh, great to see you, lady. Glad you showed up. Yes. All right, any other questions going on here? Sorry we had to break this into two-part. Mondo Grande. Yeah, they also have yes, there's quite a bit of... thank you, Duke. I couldn't remember off the top of my head. Why does copper work better? Well, it's a really long story. Look at Brian Duke Sullivan. He's got some podcasts on it. The short version of the demons and giants and monsters of old were killed by copper and bronze weapons because they had more of almost like a allergic reaction to it. And they even found copper that was mined in America, thousands of years old, in different parts of the world. And there's something that they have, some kind of like the whole werewolf silver bullet thing. Well, it's like that with copper, but I guess Sasquatch, giants, dogman, it's a theory anyway that they are highly allergic and poisonous to it. And besides that, like I said, copper bullets are just very effective bullets ballistically anyway. So, bunga bunga, he said, yes. Almost forgot, I'm going to Gatlinburg, Gatlinburg in mid-July, and Bigfoot conference that's going on there. Do you think you could make it? That's right in the middle of the fair, and my wife works the Orange County Fair every year, and it's a month. Yes, it is, Estella. I got a bunch of free beer. Probably not, because it's right in the middle of fair, and I have to take care of my daughter. Because it's poison for their blood. Exactly, Dick. Thank you. Kind of beer you're drinking? Yeah, like I said, it's Estella. Are there any origin stories about the mountain giants and where did they come from? I assume they're very, very ancient biblically. Pre-flood, pre-Adamites, maybe even going back that far. I think Bigfoot might be like a pre-Adamite creature before modern humans came around. A lot of the Native Americans say that the Sasquatch were here before we came around. As far as mountain giants, they might be a derivative of what some people call the Nephilim or Raphaim. They might be some kind of a fallen angel, half-breed. Because if you look at all in the Old Testament, you look in all through Genesis, and they talk about the Nephilim and the fallen angels, and they bred with the daughters of men and became huge. O'Doul's yummy. It's not O'Doul's. It's Stella O'Doul's. Anyway, so that's kind of the thing, and that they were all over the earth, and the oceans were different sizes at different points. So there's different land bridges, and we like to assume that kind of Columbus came over, then we realized the Vikings came over, then we realized the Chinese came over, and I think in ancient times they were all over the United States as we know it today, all over Central and South America. It's they also be of the Horim tribe mentioned in the Bible, exceptionally hairy giants. Well, I could be part of that too. But yes, very good. Giants are talked about a lot in the Bible. Yeah, they were a real problem in the Bible. And if you, eating people, killing people. I mean, if you're, everybody has that friend who's a really big dude, and when they got drunk, they grab you by the neck and toss you. Like, one of my good friends is like 6'7", and when he was drunk, he would just throw his weight around and feel no pain. So I could just imagine a belligerent giant, real giant, like 12, 14 feet tall, with a couple cases of wine, with a couple barrels of wine in them, and pretty much get away with anything because who's going to stop them? Especially if they have, take a 12-foot, 14-foot, 16-foot giant. That's a small one. Put armor plating on them and give them a giant sword. You're unstoppable. It's unreal. So no one's going to stop them if they get in their way. Anyway, I think that all these weird creatures are always part of the earth. I tend to agree. Would copper 308 penetrate a Bigfoot chest? I think if you're using the 168 grain, the Barnes, or the GMX, because I've heard stories of people. I talked to a friend of mine where he shot a, what was it? It was a deer at 150 yards. It was a big mule deer, like a big 200-pound mule deer. It went clean through the mule deer, killed the doe that was standing behind it, and then deposited into the hillside. Now, I know that Sasquatches are built a lot more sturdy than a deer, but that shows you the penetration. And what really kills is there's two things when bullets hit: it's the energy they hit with and how they penetrate. And when you get into bigger game, like smaller game, like deer size and coyotes and stuff, and ground squirrels, you want a round that hits really hard and expands and deposits its energy. When you get into bigger game, you want something that penetrates, because you want it to reach the vital organs, get to the heart, get to the lungs, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I think it could. I'd aim for the neck or the head if I could. Or like the other guy said earlier, aim for the ding-dong. If you shoot a Sasquatch in the ding-dong, make sure you kill him, because he's probably not going to be happy. It's crazy. Andre the Giant was 7'4", the tallest before he had back issues, but his grandfather was 7'8". Must have been some sort of genetic mutation. Yeah, that's one thing. Like those wrestler guys, like the Big Show or Kane or any of those guys. Oh, he's 7 feet tall. Oh, they're really like 6'8" or 6'10". You know, like the Big Show or Andre the Giant was like 7'4", but they said he was 8 foot tall, and with boots on and the big hair and standing up straight, up on top of an elevated wrestling ring. Yeah, he looked 8 feet tall. What shotgun would you recommend? I'm a Remington guy. I like Remington 870s. Mossbergs are good too. Good pump gun. Just practice with it because it's really easy to short stroke a pump shotgun. Side by sides are nice too. I'd stay away from semi-autos. Semi-autos are good if you're like, I'm only going to shoot buckshot, and you can tune them to only shoot this type of buckshot. But if you want to do birdshot, buckshot, slugs, heavy slugs, light slugs, that kind of, most semi-autos don't run that well. When you get into a Benelli though, but then you're in a couple $1,000s. So yeah, 243 are decent calibers for thin skin game. Yes, and you can get an all copper 243. And I'd rather have a 243 on me than nothing at all. So that's kind of the point too, is you don't need to go out and buy big giant calibers. The gun you got is probably enough. Pump shotguns, 458 SOCOM. Yeah, that's great. Like I said, AR-15, you can slap an upper on there, use your same magazines. You get uppers for $500 or $600 in 458 SOCOM. I'd put a red dot on there, a really bright flashlight, and that would be your monster hoser. So, what else we got going on? And you sent a video where the moose swallowed the arrow was shot, and the moose opened up its mouth, right down its chute, and it lived to spit it out the arrow. I believe it. Moose are pretty tough. I've been pretty close to moose before. They thump more people. More people get thumped by moose than bears. He drank 116 beers in one night. We're doing a wrestling match in Vegas. Oh, Andre the Giant. Yeah, it was. Jake the Snake was on Joe Rogan, and they were talking about all the stories. You just pop down beer. They had that picture of Andre the Giant where he had like a beer can look like this shotgun shell in his hand. It was just amazing how huge that guy was, and it wasn't even that big. I mean, 7'4" would be. I mean, it's huge. Don't get me wrong. 7'4", 500 pounds. It's huge, but that would be scrawny for a Sasquatch. I mean, come on, you know. Hunt.com Sasquatch stories. Shotguns is a street sweeper. Barrett 50 cal, game over. If you want to spend $8,000 or $10,000 on a Barrett and then haul around a 30-pound rifle, you go for it. You can go with me Sasquatch hunting, but you got to keep up. What do you think Bigfoot genuinely is? So I go back and forth on this, and I was actually good. This is the big question, and I go back and forth on this, and about every couple months, I think my opinion updates on what I think Sasquatch, Bigfoot is. For a long time, I thought they were undiscovered primate species, maybe some kind of Gigantopithecus, all the kind of conventional stuff. And then for a long time, I was thinking there was something biblical, something going way back. And then maybe something, you know, slightly more recent than way, way back in the Bible, maybe like the Nephilim, fallen angel offshoot. You know, I didn't necessarily believe it, but it was worth considering that maybe there was some kind of had a really good answer to what Bigfoot is. Check it out. Oh, I love Bob Gimlin. He just emailed me the other day. We've been working back and forth. Bob Gimlin's a cool guy. I won't give away what he contacted me for, but Bob Gimlin's amazing. He contacted me for some info, and I told him, yeah, go for it. He seems like a really cool guy. If you don't subscribe to Bob Gimlin, Gimlin with a Y, go check him out. He does great videos. I watch his videos, and it makes me want to do my videos better. Anyway, so what is a Sasquatch? For the longest time, I thought there was some kind of animal, and now I think from the Bluff Creek conspiracy that I may or may not believe, to reports, to what Claudia has encountered, to what a lot of other people have seen, their intelligence, my personal experiences, I don't think they're ape. I think they're more human. They might be, you know, on one side you got ape, and on one side you got human, but I think they're much closer to that human spectrum, because they do hoop and holler and make monkey noises, and some of them look like a chimpanzee, and some of them look like a gorilla, and some of them look like a baboon. Oh, I got a Gugwe video coming out next week. Check it out. I got some new graphics, and everything should be really cool. What do you think a diseased, sickly Sasquatch hasn't found, like off the beaten path trail or confused or something? Actually, people have reported that. One of the things I did, hey Masquatch, we are apes, pink apes. True, we are part of the great ape species. I was referring to apes as in a gorilla or a chimpanzee, not apes. Very true. Anthropologically, we are part of the great ape family. But I think they're closer to humans than they are to a gorilla, if that makes sense. Oh, Woodburger Farms live. He's got some knocks. Anyway, so we'll wrap it up here. Sorry the live stream got broken into two parts there. We're up to like 140 people. And the highest we got on this one is 92. People didn't want to bother logging back in. So I think Sasquatch are some kind of an ancient human, almost like a human prototype, something that was designed maybe intelligently. Um, I think they're. I don't think they're exactly human like us, but I think they're very close to human. I think they're a very ancient race. I think they've been here a long time, and I think much like human beings, they can have great compassion, but they can also potential for great evil. So I think they're some kind of human. I think they go back farther than a human as me and you know it as human. I think there's something very ancient, and I almost think they're protectors. There's a lot of strange stories out there about vortexes and portals and strange things in the woods and areas of high strangeness, and these creatures have to be around. I almost think sometimes people wander into the woods and they get acorns and rocks thrown at them and hoot and hollered and chased away. I'm sure there's some territorial stuff going on that they want to keep us away, normal aggression, normal reasons why you'd want someone to stay away. But I think sometimes sometimes they're trying to protect us from something worse, if that makes any sense. VJ, Matt Squatch Sense, your videos are great, man. Both you and Bob have convinced me that Bigfoot is real. Keep hurting the animal. Thank you. Cat Squatch. Gotta go. Thanks, Duke. All right. See you later, man. Yeah, I'm going to go here in a minute anyway. That's the cat crying at me. I can't let you inside. Sorry. Cat's a sassy cat. Anyway. All right. You think the government kills mountain giants because they cause a problem? I think they leave them alone. Any cryptids in Saskatchewan? No, just Canadians. Yes, looking all over Canada's got lots of Bigfoot sightings. Have a good night, Matt. Have a beer for me. I will. Okay, any other quick ones here? The instincts they have and sense and connection to the earth is strong like we never understand. Very, very true. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to get going. You stay. What about the Dogman? I think they're a lot more recent than Bigfoot as far as their creation. No, I don't think the government created them. I think an ancient civilization, Babylonians, Mesopotamians, some kind of a very, very ancient race, I think came up with them as like a guard dog or some kind of a super soldier. Aliens, who knows? But I think they're genetically engineered, and I don't think they're one of God's creation, so to speak. Atlantis, good guess. All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna call it quits. Nice guns.